스코틀랜드 서해안의 작은 섬 아일라. 이곳에는 1810년대에 생긴 증류소부터 2019년에 생긴 신생 증류소까지 총 9개의 증류소가 있습니다. 주민은 3,000명 남짓이지만 최고 품질의 싱글몰트 위스키를 생산하는 증류소들이 모여 있어 위스키의 성지라 불리는 곳이죠.
I was walking around the island and I noticed that the church, it's a very interesting shape. It's completely round. I've never seen anything like it. So I asked the locals, why is the church round? And they told me, so that the devil has no places to hide in the corners. And on Islay, the legend has it that when the devil couldn't hide in the corners, he found his way to hide in a whiskey cask.
위스키 성지에 어울리는 이야기네요. 싱글몰트 위스키는 물, 바람, 토양의 질에 따라 맛이 달라져 생산지마다 독특한 개성을 가지는데요. 그중 가장 개성 강한 싱글몰트 위스키를 만드는 곳이 바로 이곳 아일라 섬이죠. 톡 쏘는 피트 향으로 유명한 아일라 위스키. 자, 그중 하나를 만나러 가볼까요?
Hi, I'm Dustin.
Dustin, welcome. I'm
Thank
Barry.
you. And so one of the things I was curious as we were rolling in, I mean, the island is so unique, and as we go around it, as soon as I stepped off the plane, it smelled like smoked seaweed. It smelled peaty. I thought there was a fire burning around the corner somewhere.
I don't know about the fire, but the airport is pretty much built on a peat bog. You're working with the peat, you're working with it all the time. So, and growing up as a kid on Islay, you're used to peat.
You're right, you're walking on it.
You would walk around the streets in the winter and every fire would be burning peat. And when it's cold, the peat smoke would come down into the streets. So you grow up playing in the streets, smelling smoke and peat smoke all the time.
Like, is that where it came from, the peat being burnt to smoke the malt? Is that because it was the most abundant fuel source?
Yeah, I mean, probably every house at one point would have used peat smoke as a heat source.
Okay.
It was originally being a heat source here until the flavour of it was, okay, this works.
Let's put this in the whiskey. But I did hear that Prince Charles, he kind of got stuck here for a bit because of this beautiful wind.
So he's been here on a number of visits. The first time he landed his own plane, and it wasn't actually the wind that got him stuck here. It was because he actually went off the end of the runway. The plane landed in a river. And
this is where the royalty came, and they started giving the stamps, and that's where the buzz.
Yeah, so the royal warrant was awarded in 1994.
If you had to choose one that had the largest influence on the expression or the character of what makes Laphroig, what would you choose?
And it's all these small little traditions passed down that make up, I wouldn't say there's one that's, but the malt floors play a huge part, yeah. I started in the malt floors up above us, working in there. You
were a malt man?
I was a malt boy, they called me.
A malt boy?
I was so much younger than the rest of the team.
Is there like even like, do they call it wee malty or something like that?
No, I was quite happy clinging on to malt boy. I'm still trying to cling on to the name.
위스키를 만들려면 가장 먼저 보리싹을 틔워야 하는데요. 플로우 몰팅은 물에 불린 보리를 바닥에 펴놓고 손수 뒤집어가며 싹을 틔우는 전통 방식입니다. 보리를 바닥에 넓게 뿌려두고 일정한 시간마다 삽으로 뒤집어줘야 해서 이게 여간 힘든 작업이 아니죠.
All right, so I heard there's a term, monkey shoulder.
Yes.
Is that a real thing? It's like...
Yeah, it's before the term repetitive strain injury came along.
It was from malt men and malt women on the floor.
When they were working the floors and they were turning, they were always predominantly right or left-handed, so they would get repetitive strain in the most dominant shoulder.
And let's be honest, it's 2022, there are modern ways to do this. You send it off, you do a little thing, they press a button, it does its own thing, they send it back, and why? Why would you...
It wouldn't be Laphroig then. So again, as we talked about earlier, the traditions, passing them down, it's what makes Laphroig.
I'm just drinking for free all day. So maybe I get a little monkey shoulder on?
Go for it.
Huh?
Just have to go all the way to the bottom, then all the way back up again.
And how many times do I have to do this in a shift?
Oh, you don't stop. That's your shift.
That was a. So I'm like, what? 3 meters? 3 meters in?
So usually they would, in the back in time, there would be 14, maybe 15 operators, all walking down,
At the same time.
turning together. Yeah.
Is this how it's done? Am I doing an all right job?
This is how it would be done.
You take the piss out of me if you'd like. I'm ready for it.
No, but what would have to happen is when you have to move down again.
Yeah.
So you have to fill in the trench you've made.
Gotcha.
You know, so
From
you
this
would-
side.
Yeah, so you take a step back. You would then fill in the trench you've made with the next load.
Gotcha.
Out of 10,
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just be honest. Be brutal. I'm
He's
fine.
a good solid 3.
I can get if I can get a 3 for a first time, that's satisfying.
Good solid 3.
보리에 싹을 틔운 다음에는 눅눅한 보리를 건조하는 과정이 필요합니다. 이때 아일라 섬에서는 피트를 연료로 사용하는데요. 피트를 태우면 향이 강하고 진한 연기가 나는데 이 연기가 메가에 스며들면서 아일라 위스키 특유의 강한 훈제향이 만들어지는 거죠. 증류소 곳곳을 돌아다니면서 코로 피트 향을 느꼈다면 이제는 혀로 아일라 위스키를 느껴볼 차례입니다.
Maybe you could get me started on my malt boyish tasting whiskey
Okay, well,
journey.
I think what we should start on then, aged 10 years,
Okay.
sherry oak finish. So it was matured predominantly in bourbon before being finished in sherry oak. It's a very inviting dram. For me on the nose, I instantly get the Laphroig smoke. Slanger.
Sounds fun. I mean, it's smoky, but there's also this richness to it, slightly savory, and then it finishes with this high kind of grassy note. It's quite nice. It's very well balanced, very complex.
You think the peat smoke's going to overwhelm everything. It doesn't. You get that richness, you get that seaweed and the iodine, you get that brininess. They're all there bubbling away on the surface.
The characters, though, that you said, smoke, seaweed, iodine, but
Yeah.
somehow it works. It's very well balanced. Is that why the tagline for Laphroig is "Love it or hate it"? That's one of them, right? It's a very
Absolutely.
strong character, but it's very interesting.
Absolutely.
It's like take it or leave it.
It is very much love or hate.
Okay.
And when people love, they love.
Well, I love it.
Yeah.
Another sip of this right here.
위스키에 대한 그들의 자부심이 느껴집니다.
Laphroig is a little more on the traditional side. When I swung open the doors here, the interior, the smells, I guess even like the ocean is, I could almost touch it from here. And I could lean out the window and the sea would splash me in the face if the wind was right. The proximity to the elements and where it's located, I think, play a more, the root there is a little bit more deeply rooted compared to the other distilleries that we visited. And I think that plays into the characters and to the experience of coming to the distillery.
스코틀랜드의 작은 섬이 위스키의 성지로 불리는 데는 피트, 바닷바람, 섬이라는 지형과 같은 여러 요소를 잘 버무려 독특한 맛과 향으로 발전시킨 증류소들의 역할이 컸는데요. 차로 5분 거리에 놓인 이 증류소들은 서로 경쟁하며 아일라 위스키의 맛을 이어가고 있습니다. 이번에는 피트 몬스터로 불릴 만큼 아일라 위스키 중에서 피트 향이 가장 강한 위스키를 만나볼까요?
Hi. Dustin.
Nice to meet you, Dustin. I'm Colin.
Colin,
Great
nice
to
to
meet
meet
you.
you.
Welcome to Ardbeg.
Thank you so much for having us.
I'm sorry, it's a bit wild and windy today.
This is beautiful.
But
I love this weather.
You're in the Hebrides, you're
Yeah.
here on the islands of Scotland, so we're literally the coast there just coming in and battering us. So
Are you going to show me around a little bit?
yeah,
or-
we're going to go through the distillery and then we'll go through warehouse and show you what we're doing here.
Excellent. Let's
Great,
go.
have you along. Come on, let's go.
Thank you.
피트 연기로 잘 건조시킨 메간은 가루로 분쇄한 후 매시턴이라는 큰 통에서 뜨거운 물과 섞어줍니다. 여기에 효모를 넣고 발효를 시키면 알코올 함량 10% 정도의 시큼한 액체가 만들어지는데요. 일종의 맥주라고 할 수 있는 이 액체를 증류시키면 위스키의 원액이 되는 거죠.
Over there we had the old stills.
Yeah.
Those were 120 years old. And these ones are the new ones.
Yeah, copper is a crucial thing because it's a great conductor of heat,
Yeah,
Be
obviously
careful.
I'm sweating.
but it's a great conductor of heat. It's easy to shape, it's malleable.
Is this unique to the Ardbeg distillery,
No,
the
you
shape?
see others with it, but the shape is, yeah, shape, height, absolutely unique. We've got 130 distilleries in Scotland, all have unique shape.
증류기의 크기부터 높이, 구부러진 각도, 증류기의 머리 모양까지 요소 하나하나에 따라 위스키 맛이 다 달라진다고 하니 증류소마다 다르게 생긴 증류기를 보는 재미가 있겠네요.
Okay, so we've got, with the doubling up with the stills, we've now got these, the spirit safe as well.
Wow, this is the spirit that's being distilled right now. It's coming directly out of these stills.
This is what we call a spirit safe. So we've been using these in the whisky industry for a long, long time. They're locked. That comes back. It's an old customs agreement that they have to be controlled. So you can, or I can just come in and take a sample whenever I liked.
Where's the fun in distilling then?
Well, for
And you
them it's
gotta-
taxation, because they charge us a lot of money, but
And this is what ends up going into the
this is spirit. This is what we're going to put into the cask.
into the
wine.
cask. Do you have who's got the key?
I've got the key.
You've got the key.
And
There
the
was a-
secret.
자, 이제 마법이 일어나는 단계입니다. 증류액을 오크통에 넣어서 위스키의 특색을 결정짓는 숙성의 시간인데요. 어떤 오크통을 쓰느냐, 얼마나 숙성하느냐, 또 저장고는 어디에 위치하느냐에 따라서 위스키의 최종 풍미가 달라진다고 하니 네, 그 어떤 과정보다 중요한 순간입니다.
So we've got a vast array of casks in here. The vast majority of what we fill is American oak,
Yeah.
ex-bourbon casks,
Okay.
probably about 80%. But you'll sometimes see things like this, a big sherry butt from Spain. You might see the odd old wine cask as well. So there's all sorts that we fill.
Wow. So what's the oldest barrel you have here?
The oldest barrel we've got on site just now is a 1976. It's not in this warehouse. It's hidden away. But we've
over there.
got very little 1970s stock. What I could do is I can give you a nose and a taste of something. Right here we've got a 12-year-old first fill,
Yeah.
which will give you an idea of, like, with a really active cask, the colour and some of the notes you'll get.
Yeah, excellent.
Come on, let's have a look. What we do is we use a thing called a bung extractor. This will always be a wingy-wangy to me.
That sounds fun.
Couple of times.
How many
in.
times can you extract a bung?
Probably twice, and then you just first
Ooh.
time. Look at that. It's like I practiced that before. You come in. And then what we do is we use a thing called a valence. You can do this if you want. Do you want to draw the sample?
Yeah.
Until you put it down until you feel the liquid liquid should be relatively high up. If it's empty, we've got a problem. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I feel it.
Right, and then put your finger on.
I've done this somewhere before.
It's all right, mate. Keep going. Let go. There you go. Look at that. It's good colour on that. So it's a 12-year-old.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Have a wee smell. I'll get a glass.
Wow, that's
This is single cask whiskey, 12 years old. Great colour to it, and hopefully lots of. I quite often get that. Cheers. Oh, are we getting a row? There's the smoke.
yeah.
But,
And it hits in the back of the throat as opposed to
oh, Like almost like a melony sweetness coming through the
I
smoke.
was gonna say melon. There's that, but almost like watermelon as opposed to like a honeydew or a cantaloupe or something. Nothing on the muskmelon side. Wow, that's
You get
interesting.
this lovely, like earthy, like the mouthfeel. It's kind of like almost like bonfire embers. You just get that like, sort of going through, but there's sweetness to it as well. Like
It's very well balanced.
정말 부럽네요. 네. 저도 마셔보고 싶습니다. 더스틴, 이번엔 제대로 숙성된 위스키를 한번 마셔볼까요?
So these are your selections. These
Yeah.
are the ones we're gonna taste.
yeah, let's.
What are we looking at?
So one thing we wanted to do is people knew that young Ardbeg worked really well. So this one here, very young,
Yeah.
was a 6-year-old. It was done in 1998 and then we bottled it in 2004. Those smoky, citrusy, people just thought this is incredible. So we thought let's go back to those times and let's bottle a 5-year-old.
And that's the. So we would be small.
Yeah. Wee beastie is a small beast, a small animal.
작은 짐승, 피트 괴물이라 불리는 이 위스키는 어떤 맛일까요?
Yeah,
Give it to you. Cheers, Slanjava. Cheers.
Slanchava. I see what you mean. It pops. There's that spice there, but
Spicy, sooty, but
it only kind of like takes that jab for a second and then it smooths out.
yeah, the finish is very mellow.
Yeah. The general consensus is Ardbeg is the peatiest whiskey on the market. It's a peat monster, all of them, that's the character. But this isn't, I mean, it's peaty, but this isn't like mow you over, kind of destroy you with peat.
Even though we're using very, very, very high phenolic, what we call the sort of compound or measurement of smokiness we talk about is phenol, even though that is high, the way that we run our stills and encourage reflux, lots of copper contact, you end up with this great balance where there's the smoky, sooty, bonfire ember notes, but this wonderful balance and lighter notes come through, and that is so cool. That is Ardbeg. So people look at Ardbeg and say, "Wow, that's going to be a peaty monster."
Yeah.
But there's so much more to it than just the smoke and the peat.
Certainly. When we think about the Islay whiskies, we only think about like peat monster. I was surprised. Ardbeg's whiskies line is very dynamic. It's been around for so long, and yet it was infused with this perfect bridge between the youthful kind of witty character, but also this upholding of tradition. When I sampled the whiskeys as well, Ardbeg it's hip, it's screamingly wild. Laphroig is love it or hate it. That was their tagline, right? Like take it or leave it. We're going to stick to tradition, and you can see that almost immediately when you walk into the visitor center. You can see it as you walk around the distilleries themselves, and you can hear it and feel it in the way that everyone talks about their product in the crew, the team. Two distinctly different expressions of tradition in a modern world.
두 증류소 모두 훌륭한 전통을 가졌다는 건 분명합니다. 다만 전통을 표현하는 방식이 다른 거죠.
And it's a harmony. There's some sort of balance. They both uphold and uplift and push forward what they find important, and it resonates with the international community. That's why it's so well received in both expressions.